It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The Indianapolis Colts have named a starting quarterback for 2025 as Daniel Jones gets the nod over the fourth overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Anthony Richardson. Jones signed a one-year, $14 million deal with the Colts in March and will start for the Colts when they take the field in Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. In recruiting news, the number one running back in the class of 2026, Savion Hitter, has committed to the University of Michigan. Hitter chose the Wolverines over the Tennessee, Ohio State, and Georgia. In the NBA, five-time All-Star and 2010 first overall pick John Wall has called it a career. Wall spent the first 10 years of his career with Washington, with stops in Houston and L.A., finishes his career with averages of 18 points and 9 assists per game. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
With Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, sponsored by All Four Seasons Garage Door, and live from the 104.5 The Zone Circa Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045. We'll have our weekly Mack Attack with Coach Mack at 2:20, and coming up later this segment here in just a few minutes, we'll be joined by NASCAR superstar Chase Elliott. Talk all things about the Bristol Super Speedway. He's second place in the NASCAR standings currently. So got a lot to talk about with him.
Except, I mean, me and Jackson got into a shoving match back behind the glass.
Now, is that a squabble or a
Jackson's always picking with everybody else. He's kind of like the Jeff Simmons of the studio.
Yeah.
And man, I think he's kind of a bully.
Well, are you?
And I had on my red jersey because I'm old.
You probably are gonna blame the media too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's our fault.
The media's fault.
We just blame Ross.
Yeah. I mean, technically, is that a squabble or a tiff? Because this isn't a fight. Because I've seen a lot of people take this to the extremes and say that Cam Ward fought Jeffery Simmons.
What?
Yes. That is what the content creators who have their fancy algorithms that tell them what gets them the most clicks or views, they have to put out, in all caps, Cam Ward fought Jeffery Simmons and all this.
This may not be fair, but I'm going to point the blame somewhere. Head coach Callahan. Because you need to have a person to talk about it immediately, so then it just squashes all the things that it can evolve to.
Yeah.
You got to talk about that immediately, just shut it down.
I would say that's a misstep.
Shut it down.
And because doing it the morning after just allows kind of
the build
to take a life of its own.
Oh man, it goes to that what you just said.
Yeah, it takes a life of its own, and then you get stuff like that. Because we're sitting here, on our show yesterday, we didn't talk about it until someone called in because it was such a non-story.
Yeah,
and it still is a non-story. Like I said, a squabble, a tiff, a kerfuffle. I don't know, but like
a what?
A kerfuffle.
A kerfuffle. What
You like that one? That's a one from Robert Rouse inside the F&M Bank chat on Twitter, YouTube,
Robert
Facebook
Walsh
Live.
Rouse?
Rouse.
What about fracas?
Fracas. Is it fracas or fracas?
It's fracas.
Is it fracas?
Yes, it's fracas.
See, help us out, Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially me.
A lover's quarrel, if you will, because they love each other still. It's no big
still
deal.
Go fishing.
Yeah. Again, no big deal. And to be fair, even though we kind of joked about it, Big Jeff blamed the media for blowing it up, not for him hitting Cam Ward. As some people,
well, did he
shoved
push
him.
him?
See, that's the thing. I messed up. I have to take ownership. I messed up because I've gotten many people that saw it in person say it was a two-handed shove after he was shoved by Cam Ward.
Right.
So if you want to blame anybody, we got to blame Cam Ward.
Yes.
But either way,
no doubt,
there is nothing to blame about. This is just, this is just your big brother, little brother.
Yeah,
this is just family. This is nothing.
But I have to ask Jackson. This unbiased guy right here. So if Cam has the red jersey, you're not supposed to touch Cam Ward. But he initiates the push. Now, a lot of people are saying Big Jeff didn't even see who pushed him. He just turned around and reacted. I don't know if that was true or not, but he reacted on someone with a red jersey on, pushed him first. So doesn't that then entitle Big Jeff to put hands on him?
I think in the rules of life, yes. But in the rules of
my bad, I missed that. What'd you say?
I think in the rules of life, yes. But in the rules of NFL quarterbacks, probably no.
Oh, I think the total opposite.
I agree.
I think the total opposite.
The rules of
Once
both.
you get inside that arena, that boxing square, and you become part of it, all bets are off. Nope. Quarterback's supposed to run away and be away from it. He cannot be touching anybody. Here's a good example of why this is true. Imagine Cedric Gray gets an interception. Follow me, by the way. And Cam Ward ear-holes Big Jeff. But he has the red jersey on. That's what just happened there. That's what exactly just happened. He is supposed to stay out of it. That's why when you see quarterbacks in live games and a guy gets an interception and they know that somebody could block them, they just stop.
Yeah, they just kind of chill out.
Right. Well,
stand near the ref.
That's exactly it. If not, you go into the fracas of the fray of the fight, and you don't want none of that because you ain't built for that. So I blame Cam Ward all day long. He better not put no hands on nobody. You cannot. So
it's like a kicker kicking something that's not the ball.
Behind the scenes, both of those guys apologized because at the end of the day, both were wrong. But Cam Ward ended a fracas. He should not be. And you heard Brian Callahan say it. He shouldn't be entering the fracas. If you break down what he said, the quarterback should be no parts of that. Do you have that? In that interview, I know I didn't ask you to have it, but he cannot be entering that. That is a different ballgame.
Well,
remember in Atlanta, he threw the ball down there when it was a fight. That's what people were saying. Guess what? That's about as close as he's supposed to be to any of that.
Right.
Now, but he had to go do his little zombie thing, and that's cool. But you can't. People talking about, but you can't touch the quarterback. If the quarterback goes punch you in the groin, then you can't respond.
I'm with you on this.
You don't be putting no hands on nobody, man. And I said this yesterday. Now I know the full story. No way, no how.
Yeah.
Watch this. McNair, Neil O'Donnell, Billy Volek, none of them entered the fray. None. Not there one time. Not one.
I'm with you. Like
they wouldn't put no hands on people.
He started it. This is why it's not a big deal. Because there weren't punches thrown, helmets were not taken and swung on anybody.
Right.
But if you're going to blame someone, because this is what I was in the Ramon and Will chat this morning, and there were people just all mad at Big Jeff. And I was like, guys, you guys know that Cam Ward started it, right? Right. I mean, and I get it. If you're the retaliator, you're the one who usually gets in trouble.
Right.
But again, not a big deal. It's not really a big deal. And even Callahan said today in my because he's asked like why wasn't Big Jeff escorted off of the premises of practice or whatever? Like why wasn't he kicked out of practice? And he's like, in 16 years I've never seen a player get kicked out of practice for cussing and shoving. Like what are we doing here? Like I mean this is such a non-freaking story that's being turned into a story because I guess nobody wants to talk about the preseason game anymore, the rookies or something.
Well, it's always better to talk about something like this and the reputation that Big Jeff has built. Don't be surprised. Right, I mean, that's part of this whole equation, and that's why people want to believe that he was the instigator.
I guess if it's Brandon Allen and Cam Horsley, no offense to either of these players, nobody'd be talking about it probably, right?
But hey, man, this one here, I'm probably at 99% on Jeff's side. I still don't. He got most of his quotes right until he started blaming the media.
Yeah. To be fair, he just blamed the media for blowing it up.
No, right. But guess what?
But you didn't have to say it.
Don't do it.
Again, he said it on his tweet.
Even though it may be true.
I knew when he put out that tweet last night. Blaine. I looked at it and I go, oh, here we go. This story's just never going to go away. And because he blamed the media in that one too. And I'm like,
he just took this to the next level. He did it.
Yeah, he did that part. All right, let's go to Alec real quick in Clarksville. He wants to talk about Jeff. Alec, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So I love hearing, Blaine and Coach say, like, this is nothing because, I know he used to be on the station, but I feel like PK was just trying to get a rise, get a reaction, saying, he said, does Big Jeff get special treatment for putting his hands on Cam Ward? And like Coach said, it was after the play and Cam pushed him first. He didn't get hit during the play by a defensive player, and these things happen. And I think even last year, Blaine, you mentioned, you want to see a little bit of heat and scuffle in these things because, dudes are playing, dudes are dogs, and these are high-level competitors, and, you can't expect to push a lion like Big Jeff and not get a shove back. I mean, he's not going to lay over. So it is a huge nothing, but at the end of the day, people that ask the questions want to get people talking about it because it's more clicks, but I'd rather talk about that wide receiver last night on Monday Night Football that got all those touchdowns.
Yeah, Mitchell Tinsley.
See what y'all think about him. Yeah, thanks, guys.
No,
Thanks.
He'll make their roster.
Yeah, it sounds like to me he locked it up last night.
Man, he made some good points there, man. And, he just made me think about this actually may become a good thing for the team.
Yeah.
It ignites bringing you closer together. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Don't know if this time it will. I'm not close enough to the team to kind of know that because it wasn't a big scuffle like that. But I think maybe that'll put people in certain arenas about we got to respect each other, but yet we're going to come closer together. Oh, and by the way, PK asked that question, but guess what? Because they know it can ignite him.
Yeah.
They've already seen it. What happened with Buck last year and everything else. So I think they're trying to push his buttons. Hey, good on PK's part. If if that gets him some clicks and then that takes him to the next level, Jeff maybe address him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do not address him, but Jeff.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to what Big Jeff had to say, because I think there is something to the kind of coming closer together, and I think he kind of talked about it without talking about it in his statement. So this is what Big Jeff said to the media after practice.
Go ahead and address it. I'm going to address it. At the end of the day, quarterback, hands off the quarterback. Anybody on this team know, everybody in that locker room know, I love the hell out of my guys. Happened at practice. People on the outside, you guys, y'all blowing it up. Shouldn't get blown up. The training camp, temper flares, move on. At the end of the day, can't touch the quarterback. It's the same thing. If we joint practice and somebody touch our quarterback, trust me, I'm going to be the first one in there. So I respect the hell out of our offense for having their quarterback back, having our quarterback back. But at the end of the day, it's football. We, offensive line, defensive line, trenches, it's hot. Shit, temper flare, we all tired. At the end of the day, we family. We moved on from it. We're not going to keep talking about it each and every day. It happened yesterday. We came back to work as a team. Yesterday, we left it on the field. Came back, got the correction, moved on. So hands up.
So, I mean, he says, I expect my guy, the offense, to come back and do that when you put your hand on the quarterback. And I think that kind of goes to your point is like, he's not mad at anybody. No. He's not mad at anybody, at least in the locker room, I guess I should say. He's not mad at anybody on the team. And it's a dust up. It happens. But he says, hey, the offense came to his aid. And hey, that's what should be expected of this team is kind of the kind of gist I got of it. And I'm sure that's very common if a lot of quarterbacks, if they get their hands on them and touched on practice, other players will come and hang out. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I do kind of lean with you that, hey, maybe this turns into something positive for the team as well.
You got what Brian Callahan said?
Not yet. Let me find it.
And we, of course, await Chase Elliott as well. He will be joining us. Hopefully, he will be joining us. I got some great questions for him, too. I put them in there. I did a little bit of research, And but again, I know we've spent a lot of time on it, and it's funny to, I guess, talk about something that's a non-story as long as we have. But it is, at the end of the day, just a big non-issue. If you're a fan listening to this, there is just nothing to this that really matters in the big scheme of things other than it may actually provide a spark for your team to come closer together. Other than that, it's a big non-story, non-issue.
Yep, and let's move on. He addressed it, but
yeah, He addressed it. Well, when we come back, we'll hopefully be joined by Chase Elliott. If not, we'll hear from Brian Callahan. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll shortly hear from Brian Callahan. But we were talking during the break, and it's kind of become a little, this event, this, I guess maybe a tiff. Let's call it a tiff. This tiff has become a little bit of a microcosm of what I think is going to happen with media and fans, at least over the first year or two after Cam Ward's career, is that nobody's blaming Cam Ward. I think we may even be one of the very few that have done it vocally, at least, for this tiff, this dust-up. Mm-hmm. Remember, he's the one who, Jeffery Simmons had his back to him. He pushed Jeffery Simmons to get his attention and then did a Zombieland taunt right in front of Big Jeff, and then Big Jeff shoved him, and that was it. Obviously, the offensive line saw probably the shoving part. But I just want to say, feels like a little bit of a microcosm that it's never going to be Cam Ward's fault for anything for at least the first year, 2 years. Yeah. Because this is an easy blame.
Yeah, no, to me, it seems like the quarterback is having special treatment here.
Yeah.
Just because you have on the red jersey, you start laying hands on people, then you better be expecting the hands get laid back on you. You can't just be out there, nah, you can't, no.
Now, here's what Brian Callahan had to say, because he did put a little bit of the blame on Cam Ward, and he said this isn't a big deal, which we both agree on both those fronts. So here's what Brian Callahan had to say about #Pushgate.
Yeah, I think it was a training camp push and shove and a little bit of loud barking, and that was pretty much it. For me, it's late August, and we're ready to go play some real football, I think, and I think that's pretty standard back and forth in this point of training camp. So I didn't think too much of it. Guys got a little hot. Tempers flared, and we moved on. So I don't.
There's a red jersey on the quarterback, not to know that he's not to be touched, not just in a play, but in a situation like that.
Of course, you don't want the quarterback being touched. The flip side of it is the quarterback enters willingly into the fray like that, then that's on him as well. So he's got to not do that and enter himself into that spot. But yeah, we don't want a red jersey getting touched. So that's is what it is.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Can't be in the fray.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so simple, guys. We don't have to make it a bigger deal than what it is. It's very just common sense. And I think that there are people out there that are wanting to make a bigger deal. It would have been a bigger deal to me if the offensive line didn't come to Cam Ward's defense.
Yeah. That reminded me of the VY. VY in the game, I think Corey Curtis kind of reminded me of this, got dumped on his head. I mean, I think it was James Harrison for the Steelers. That's who they were playing here at home, too. And he dumped on his head. And then after that, nobody came over there and helped him up or come to the rescue because it was some borderline penalty type play. He was, the whistle blew, and then he kind of took him down and tried to hurt him. He really did. He tried to dump him on his head. And that was really telling what the players felt like about their quarterback.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that was. I have no idea. So it was really strange to me. I'm like, dang, nobody did anything. They just went back to the huddle.
Yeah.
They didn't try to defend their quarterback. I was like, oh my, this is probably not going to go down the road this season of a really good season.
Right. I mean, and
so
again,
you want to see that. That's why I said it may bring it closer together. It may.
And there is a little bit of us versus them talking about the media could probably be a little bit of it too. They're trying to tell us that we're doing this or doing that and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of non-stories, I hate to bring it back up, but Van Jefferson did speak today.
Oh.
He did talk about what him and Cam Ward talked about, and he did talk about Cam Ward's leadership as well. Do you have that one ready?
I have the one him talking about the drop.
Okay, here's Van Jefferson talking about the drop.
We Coach Callahan caught a great play. It was designed up. It was ran perfect. Cam threw a great ball. I made the play. That's pretty much it.
How does that interaction go with Cam as far as when you come back to the huddle or when you guys go to the sideline? What was that interaction?
Yeah, he just asked me how the ball was, and I told him that it was a great ball, and I should have came down with it. That's pretty much it. And I could have kept my angle a little higher, in order for me to run through it cleanly. But at the end of the day, he threw a great ball, and I got to make the play.
Just see through a great ball, got to make a play.
Yeah, he took ownership in it. Now, to be fair, being there at the game, and I had to say this the other day, there are certain points I felt like when I saw him, he lost tracking the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in certain domes, it kind of goes up in the lights and then you miss it and then it comes back. It just certain throws just kind of hit and you lose it for a split second. That's what it looked like because he dropped it and it looked like he didn't know, like he didn't couldn't track it. Like something was missing. Maybe he didn't see it out of his hand and then he kind of lost it, then found it. I don't know. But that's how it looked because I felt like, man, you gotta, as I said yesterday, you gotta make that catch. Tough catch, but you gotta make that catch. Especially a guy in the position that he's in. He's really a 4 or 5 on most teams. On this team, he's getting an opportunity since his rookie year to be one of the guys starting. And, man, you gotta relish that moment and you gotta make that catch. And he said it there. He took ownership. I have much respect for him for doing that.
And Van Jefferson did have a solid bounce-back day, according to reports. He caught multiple deep passes from Cam Ward. I think he was 3 for 3 today, and there you go.
Watch
again,
it's Alex Alexander. Didn't he drop a 1 or 2? Right in his old
well, you know what
basket.
That means. If you drop a pass, got cut him. That's what everybody says. You got cut him.
I'm just saying, man. Hey, you're going to have some good days and some bad days. You're just trying to be as consistent as possible. Make it fun. I think he did. I know he did drop a ball, Allegany Manor. You got to make that catch too because it was right in his hands. So it just happens. Sometimes you're thinking about running, turning, and running before you look at all the way in. You start making assumptions like, "Oh, I got it," boom, and you start, take your eyes off the prize. Can't take your eyes off the prize.
So again, the Van Jefferson, because the Van Jefferson thing, people said that he, according to Cam Ward's, twisted Cam Ward's words around saying that he blamed Cam Ward, even though nobody spoke to Van Jefferson himself, but they twisted Cam Ward's words around, like.
I thought you said that. I thought you were going to go down the road. What you said is that they should cut Van Jefferson and keep Restrepo.
Oh, no, I'm definitely not saying that. Listen.
That's what Jackson said. Did you say that, Jackson? Where did I hear that from somebody else?
I am a firm non-member of the Restrepo Hive.
He's a Wiley Hive guy.
Yeah, Josh Wiley needs that roster spot.
Okay. I'll just make sure. Give him clarity. Just make sure.
I am definitely. I will say this. If you are surprised when Xavier Restrepo gets cut coming up, you have not listened to this show enough because we are the one show that probably for months now been trying to tell people that he's going to have to earn his spot. And then it got to a certain point that it doesn't feel like he's earning that spot through no fault of his own, not through fault of effort or hard work or anything. But I'm just saying, if you prepare yourselves mentally, I would be very, very, very surprised if he made this team.
Now, how can they get him on the practice squad?
Okay, so this is how it works. So there's one massive cut down day, which is, I believe, the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. And all the players that are cut, you automatically go on waivers, and you have till noon the next day to make your waiver claims. If you claim a player off of waivers in that initial period, that player has to go on your final 53 roster. So what you are saying, when you guys are saying someone will pick up Xavier Restrepo, they have to pick up Xavier Restrepo and put him on the final 53, saying that they have to have seen enough or know enough about Xavier Restrepo to say that he's better than our 6th wide receiver we currently have on our roster. So the guys that you would be technically looking at are the guys that he's played against. The Vikings, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers likely ain't going to happen. They have wide receiver depth out the wazoo. Falcons, I don't know. They seem to be leaning heavily into a 12 personnel kind of team. I don't know if there's a spot for him there. We'll see about the Minnesota Vikings. But those are the guys that are likely going to see him the most and have the most intimate knowledge, specifically the first two. But they have to go on the final 53.
Right. Well, this leads me to how. So then it takes the Titans all the way to after the first week for them to bring him back for the practice squad.
So I believe after waiver claims are processed, they could bring him immediately back to the practice squad. Gotcha. So and I think this would be the likely spot that he would land on the practice squad. And I think that's the spot he would choose, right? Because you're technically a free agent. Now, some other team may try to do something, but this is the spot I think he would likely choose because I think this is the spot that he's most comfortable with. He's got his quarterback friend here. He knows the offense. He knows that probably if a guy gets injured, he'll probably be the first one called up from the practice squad. So I would think that this would be a likely scenario where he's on the practice squad. And that's really the whole extent of what Xavier Restrepo will be in this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now, Jackson, would you, if you were Restrepo and the Titans cut you and then you go through waiver claim, don't get picked up, but you now have an opportunity to be on practice squad on the Titans or some other team, what would you do?
I would most likely pick the Titans unless it was I would look at which situation's better for myself.
That's a tough call. I think it's tougher than people think because you want to go to your comfort level, you know the offense, but ultimately, do you believe that on this team, with the wide receiver situation that they are in, will you ever get an opportunity to play there? And
that's
so
true.
That's the bottom line. So where do you believe you'll got to be? Don't make it relationship because if it was that strong, he'd be on the roster.
That's true.
Period. So, sometimes you got to say, well, this team actually wants me. This team saw me. They wanted me in the beginning. Now, all of a sudden, I'm not, in their cards, but in a certain role.
Yeah.
So can I ever get over that hurdle, or am I better off starting from scratch and going somewhere now that I know what I know?
Yeah,
so it's gonna be a tough
maybe
one. It's tough. I mean, I don't think it's right or wrong
he's
answer.
a Florida kid, so what if maybe you feel you can go somewhere down in Florida, right? Like, I mean, maybe your family lives down there, and and there's an opportunity there for you somewhere.
Are you talking about the UFL?
Well, maybe.
I didn't. I
was about like Jacksonville or something. I don't think he would fit what he's not going to go to the Dolphins. He don't fit that offense at all. If he don't fit this offense, he definitely not fitting that offense. But maybe somewhere like the Jaguars or the Tampa Bay, I guess won't work because we just talked about that depth.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of look at it and I go.
So you're going. If you're going back to the Titans.
So here's the thing. I think Mason Kinsey is going to end up being a Patriot at some point. Like if Mason Kinsey gets cut, I could see the Mike Vrabel putting in a claim for Mason Kinsey.
I like that. He made a
so
tackle
that
on special
frees up
teams.
a spot if you're Xavier Restrepo on this team because you're likely looking at Xavier Restrepo as a practice squad wide receiver, and then who else? Like Matt Landers and Jaquan Jackson maybe are there. I don't know Matt Landers where he's at in his injury right now. I think he may practice today. And TJ Sheffield, and then whatever guy they may sign to their practice squad in free agencies. Like, I'm not sure. I feel like he would be the first call up if someone were to go down, depending on the spot. Like if Tyler Lockett were to go down, they may call up Xavier Restrepo, into that spot. I think that he has an attachment to Cam Ward, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it means anything to the team, but I think he has that attachment. But maybe he goes through this process and realizes, okay, I need to figure out a different path for me separately from Cam Ward. Need to be my own person and figure that out. Because I know everybody wants to tout that he's the leading receiver in Miami history. That is a fantastic accomplishment.
Absolutely.
I don't want to take that away from him.
You're not.
But he also played 51 games because everybody's like, well, he beat Michael Irvin, so he's got to be good. I'm like, well, Michael Irvin had averaged 76 yards per game at 31 games. We're talking about a guy that did 55 yards per game in 51 games, which is still remarkable that he's able to play 51 games for a college team. But we got to put these things in perspective is that the fact that he got passed on by 32 teams through 7 rounds, 255 something picks, right? 252, I think. And he got passed every time. It does not mean he cannot turn into something, but those that were expecting some immediate impact and he was automatically going to make the team because he was Cam Ward's buddy, that just wasn't ever a reality.
Watch this. Name a player that X-Man, I'm calling Restrepo X-Man.
I like it.
Remind you of that's in the league now. Can you think of one? I cannot.
I can think of a few running backs.
See?
I'm like,
See? Because if you're going to be short like he did, the 40 was a light bulb torch for the NFL. Like, wow.
Especially coming off the Senior Bowl.
Right. And then the Senior Bowl where you could see the speed was probably a little bit of an issue. So then he goes and then runs a 4 or 7, whatever, and then you go, he may be more free agent. Because if you're going to be small and short, you have to be fast and quick, lightning quick, a la like Waddle, Tariq Hill, all these little dynamos. He isn't that. That's what I keep saying. And I'm a fan of his, by the way. I cheer for guys like him. I want him to make team, but I'm just keeping it honest. Like, he just doesn't have that kind of skill level at the NFL. And
he ran a 4.86.
4.86.
But it's not just that. His explosion. So when we're talking 10-yard dashes, 1.69. Like, his explosion off the line wasn't there either. It's not just that.
Watch this. Can you pull up Femi's explosion?
Yes, I can. Give me
from
1
the
second.
top, because did you think of somebody? Are you kind of looking now?
I can't think of anybody, any wide receiver. I feel like his archetype fits like he's a pure route runner. Okay. And his the way he runs routes is very precise, and he's a very good route runner. And those archetypes are normally bigger receivers. So with his size and his skill set, it just doesn't match up for a receiver, really.
Right. Does he remind you of anybody
Femi,
at UT?
I don't think ran the 40-yard dash.
Who is he comparable to at UT? Anybody?
I can't think of anybody.
See? And so that's what starts happening. You start saying, man, who can he be? First, not who is he, who can he be? You got to start envisioning guys who had success. Can he be Edelman? Can he be Wes Welker? Can he,
all were faster 40-yard dash, which is not the be-all, end-all, but that's just something you can wrap your hand around.
Right. Mm-hmm. Not 4.86. They were all 4 or 5 guys who, quick route, boom, 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 return punts and kicks. I mean, it's like, dang it. He's not them. And you think he can be, that's why he got a shot, because of his production in college.
Okay, look at Princely. Femi Oladeji did not run a 40-yard dash, but Princely, you man me alien. Okay?
Who is that?
The Ole Miss edge rusher, because I got my edge rusher pulled.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
6'4", 244 pounds. 6'4", 244. He ran a 4.72, and his 10-yard dash was a 1.61. So those both come in and clear what Xavier Restrepo did at his pro day.
So that's telling you that he's not explosive.
Yes. So not only is he not fast, he's not explosive. He's shifty is what he is. Mm-hmm. And that can only get you so far as an undrafted free agent at his size when you aren't a returner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing, is that when you talk about this conversation, he's not a returner either. And that's, you got to have that ability as well, because that's what Welker did, right? I can remember when Wes Welker was in Miami, I was watching a game with my dad, probably 2003 or 2004. He was still with Miami, if I'm not mistaken. And we're watching Dolphins versus Patriots, and we're watching Wes Welker just eat up that Patriots defense. We're like, who is this dude? And he ended up joining the Patriots and doing all that stuff like a few years later. And he turned into what he was, and then all this kind of stuff. But he was fast and he was quick and he was breaking ankles right there for the Dolphins back then. And you're just not seeing
offenses that. I'm trying to think Arizona. I'm trying to envision where can he have success, and get an opportunity and then do well. And I just it's hard. It's hard to really say that individually just on his talents where he's at. I think you may be right. Maybe he should, I don't know if he could take the pounding being a running back, but
it's tough. And I hate it for him because I know that he's working so hard.
Tough.
He's tough. Man, he's got everything you want, but it's just
intangibles.
And maybe it happens later, right? Maybe we're talking about Xavier Restrepo later. Just because he doesn't make the final 53 doesn't mean his story's over. So maybe he finds a path to success in the NFL, whether it be with the Tennessee Titans or somewhere else later. I wouldn't bet against him. That work ethic, but it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but he's at least going to. We know that he ain't going to give up.
He's one of those guys that won't die. He's going to go until he can't go anymore, and that's what you love about him.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll hear from Austin Price of VolQuest, he was on with Ramon and Will this morning. He had a little bit of interesting thing to say about that quarterback competition and why Joey Aguilar won. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Stinky, stinky, stinky. Is that what it was like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Smelly, greasy, old rags laying around, a countertop that you would not dare touch. Another thing that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever. And they're not honest. They don't call you back when they say they will. Was that your last experience at a vehicle repair shop? So, hey, it's Blaine Bishop to tell you about Eurofix, and they take the stink out of European auto repair. In a Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit and not high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and work on it that they will perform. You also will get a rental car that will always be available for you when you set up an appointment. And then you never pay dealer pricing. Family-owned for over a quarter century. And it's located all over the state of Tennessee in Franklin, Hunted Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always don't blaze it.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. I laughed a little bit because I checked the chat, and we got Robert, who we gave credit to earlier on the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. He said something earlier that we gave credit to, but I gotta say, he just said something pretty silly. He said Chim, referring to Chimere DK, will be on the practice squad. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening, bud. Chimere DK is making this team.
Practice? He's drafted?
This ain't a Des Fitzpatrick situation.
He's confused.
He's running with the twos, and he's rotating in with
the
Cam
ones.
Ward and the ones.
Yeah, that I don't think that was happening there, Robert.
So what he's saying is that Restrepo is better than DK?
I don't know if that's necessarily what he's saying. I don't see any pro Restrepo chat remarks from Robert here, but that one caught my eye as we're scrolling through and everything. Let's go to Ben, who wants to talk about Xavier Restrepo. Ben, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, it didn't really bother me one way or another who makes the team, but wasn't there something during the draft process, like with his 40 time, where he either cramped up or pulled a hammy off the start line? In 0.3 seconds is such a small difference. It seems big, but in actuality, it's such a small difference that something like that could really make that big of an impact.
Yeah, Ben, you're correct. That was released after the bad times, by the way.
He had hamstring issue.
Yeah, he had a hamstring issue or some kind of issue like that. But that came out after his bad times. So I'm not saying that he's a liar. I'm just saying we got to kind of put allegedly, pull the hamstring.
That's fair. I just remember seeing something about that, so I just wanted to call in and see what your thoughts were on it.
I appreciate that, Ben. But that is something that we do have to bring up. Make sure that we do put that out there. Is that okay? Maybe it is a hamstring pull or something like that. So allegedly, I think, if I recall correctly, I think he said it after the fact, but said he pulled it before the 40-yard dash, which most people wouldn't run the 40-yard dash at that point.
Right. I don't know if he said he pulled it or that
whatever.
It was tight.
Yeah,
whatever it was tight, and he tried to run anyway, and that's when he ran the slow time. So you see that goes into his mentality, his toughness. But at some point, you got to be like, hey, man, I can expose that, I'm not going to run a good time because I am injured. And so then hence they said that after the fact. So
let's go to Miles, who wants to talk about Cam. Miles, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hello.
Hello, Miles.
Yes, sir.
Hey, yesterday we were talking about, do we call him Cam or Cameron? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it was the morning show with Buck.
No, it was us.
Anyway, yesterday I think Buck said we're going to call him Cameron, and everybody kept calling him Cam. Well, the man's already a millionaire, so let's make a decision, and every time somebody says wrong, either Cam or Cameron, let's give him, $100. What do you think?
All right, Miles.
You gonna direct deposit?
Yeah. Here's my thing. I could still call Matt Stafford. I still call Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, I know he wants to be called Two-Rod.
Okay. Tell us what they're supposed to be.
Well, Matthew Stafford, and then Two-Rod. And there was someone else that wanted to be called something different. Look.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that'd be me coming in next show and saying I only want to be referred to as Zachary. You guys wouldn't hardly ever remember to call me Zachary because it's just a force of habit to call me Zach or idiot, whatever you may want to call me. Either one.
Is that your real name?
Zachary? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Jackson?
No.
I just figured it's a safe assumption.
He's never told me. No.
I just figured it's a safe assumption that most Zachs are Zachary. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Are most Zachs Zachary? I didn't.
Every Zach,
50-50.
I've only known one other Zach in my life, or two. Yeah, I've got a cousin Zach. He's Zachary.
Stephen Parker says in the chat, if you go watch his YouTube video of the draft, he said his mom calls him Cameron, but everyone else calls him Cam.
Oh.
I feel like Cameron is more of a parent when you're in trouble kind of name. Maybe they go, first to full middle. I'm just,
You know those moms,
I know.
hey, his name is Cameron.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just hard for me to break a habit. It's not meant out of disrespect. It's just hard for me to break a habit.
I think it's interesting. It's hard for me to even say Cam. I tried to Cameron, but Cam started it. I mean, you remember they were getting Mariota's name wrong.
Yeah, well, that's just a pronunciation.
It's still wrong. They kept saying it through his whole career.
It's Mariota, correct?
Yes.
A lot of people say Mariota.
Right. Yeah, so it's a thing. But he was just like, he wasn't correcting anybody either.
Yeah.
He said it didn't matter, big deal. But the Mama Bear.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not here to. I don't want to get enough. I don't want to get in a fight with any mama bears or anything. No shoving fight or anything like that. No tiffs. No tiffs or squabbles. But I again, not meant to be disrespectful. I'm just gonna be calling him Cam. I just can't help it. Cameron just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't roll off the tongue like Cam Ward, or Ward. Just call him by his last name.
All right, I'm a hypothetical come up with why the mom did this. You just tell me if I'm way to the left, guys, or, probably not. Maybe because there was another player named Cam, and they don't want to be associated with that and call him Cameron.
Cam Hayward.
No. I was thinking of Cam Newton, but Cam Newton. So
I should have gone with Cam Taylor.
That was a good one, though. Yeah. That was a good one, Cam Hayward. But you just never know how some people, representatives, family member, mom, dad may look at it like, no, we want to set himself apart from those people.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think that's too far?
No, hey, listen, I'm never going to turn down a wild conspiracy theory. I think I'm going to buy into it. I like it. He doesn't want to be associated with Cam Ward. He wants to, or Cam Newton. He wants to be Cameron Ward. I like it.
What do you think, Jackson?
He is wearing one, by the way. He's wearing one, just like. Didn't Cam Newton wear one? Or am I thinking he wore
Cam
two?
Newton wore one.
He wore one.
Two
at Auburn, yeah. So, Jackson, you think no? Or yeah?
I think that's part of it. I mean, Cam has been a polarizing player his whole time, so maybe you want to get away from that. But he is wearing the number one. I don't think that's for Cam Newton, though. So
no, it's because he's the number one pick, right?
He wore one at Miami.
Right, but he was also that's true. Yeah.
I think he just wanted to keep his number. But don't want to be associated with Cam Akers.
And maybe really, I felt like Stoney's reasoning in here sounds to me like if you ain't his mama, don't call him Cameron. Maybe we're taking that the wrong way. Maybe only his mom can call him Cameron.
Nah, she wouldn't have made that point for it.
Maybe not. Oh, and also this is a good one. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the running back for the Commanders, that he's a rookie running back that's going crazy right now, and he may actually earn the starting job.
Call me Bill.
Yeah. That's what he wants to be called. He's now Bill Krosky-Merritt instead of Ja'Cory, which is what everybody has known him for. It's it's kind of crazy.
What if someone said, call me by my nickname because that's what everybody calls me?
I mean, that would be...
Is that okay? Even though that's not like your name?
It's like when people call Callahan Callie. I don't know if I could bring myself to do that because that is just a bad nickname. So
if it was good, it would be different.
If he wants to be, if he said call me BC, I'd call him BC. Yeah. I like that one better. But like Callie, I just
like a name that someone's been calling him all his whole life.
Yeah. I mean, maybe so. Maybe you could do that one.
You got a nickname, Jackson, that everybody calls you. But until you start getting behind the glass.
In high school, it was so we had 3 Jacksons, so it was any shortening of my last name. J. Will, just a bunch of those.
Okay.
There you go. All right, when we come back, we'll continue talking the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, and listen, fellas, if your energy, confidence, and performance in the bedroom isn't what it used to be, you're not alone. But here's the truth. Masking the symptoms with pills isn't fixing the problem. At Edge Peptide Therapy, they specialize in sexual health treatments that actually target the root cause of ED and performance issues, whether it's low testosterone, poor blood flow, or hormone imbalance. And even if you're not dealing with full-blown ED, their programs can take your performance to where the next level. And it's not patching it. It's about getting your edge back for good. I've seen firsthand what it's done for men, and I know this stuff works. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878, or you can go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Store. 615-737-1045 is the number. Hey, it's a Titans Ticket Tuesday, where each week before home games, we'll be giving you a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Tennessee Titans game. Be caller number 7 now to win 2 tickets to see the Titans host the Vikings this Friday at Nissan Stadium. 615-737-1045 is the number. 2 tickets to see the Titans host the Vikings this Friday. Caller number 7. All right. So you asked me, and I kind of forgot to put this on our little show rundown, but you asked me, hey, wasn't Snead supposed to practice this week? Where's L'Jarius Snead?
Or start revving it up,
Start revving it up.
Yeah, get some.
And I know that he's been kind of at the practices on the sidelines here and there, been on the side fields and stuff. And when asked about it today, Titans head coach Brian Callahan said, we'll see. When asked if L'Jarius Snead will be ready for the season opener in Denver, said Snead is working to get healthy and back on the field. If you are on YouTube, you're getting the 2 looks of people that are very perplexed and confused about how this could have. We still don't know anything about this L'Jarius Snead thing. I know they have talked about it. I know they've been asked about it, but we don't know crap about what is going on with L'Jarius Snead.
Man, you just made my upper back and traps just all get tight.
I have to get you a massage.
Man, I need one, man. Golly, man. Oh. So there is no, he's doing conditioning, he's revving up to get on the practice field maybe a day or 2 here in the next day
They
or so.
are hoping to get him back soon. That's kind of been the
wording
used.
I don't know. That's forewarning for he maybe had a setback. I don't know. This is nowhere near what I thought. I mean, we're at the end. This is it. Then it's 2 weeks to the first game.
I know. We're not that far away from the start of the regular season. And I'm so confused about this L'Jarius Snead thing because
if they haven't even signed a veteran, a guy at least for a depth piece.
He said, Brian Callahan says there's hope that L'Jarius Snead will return soon, won't commit to a return date, but they'll reevaluate after tomorrow.
Reevaluate. See what he said?
Reevaluate.
What do you reevaluate?
So I guess they evaluated this morning, and I guess they're going to reevaluate after tomorrow. He's not offering a timeline or the fact that he'll be available by week 1.
Somebody asked that specifically?
Yeah, so he's not going to commit. He would not offer a timeline, and he will not say that he will be available week 1 in Denver. It's a mess. Can we call it like it is? It is a
So he actually said it in the beginning. We hope to have him back. I mean,
remember, it was definitely maybe he'll be ready by training camp.
Well, remember,
and then a couple weeks ago,
Darius said himself.
Yeah, I'm as healthy as I've been, is what he said. And he says, I'm going to put the world on notice and remind everybody who L'Jarius Snead was or is.
I got so excited.
I know. And then
I'm never doing that again.
And then we kind of got a little, sometimes Easton tweets, and I kind of feel like it's coming from the coaching staff. And he said, maybe we'll see L'Jarius Snead pop off a pup this week. Not looking too good right now.
When did he say that?
It was, I'll have to go look for the tweet, but it was a couple days ago.
Oh, a couple days ago?
A couple days ago, he said that. It's just right now, I don't know. I'm kind of a little nervous from the point of I don't know if Snead's ever going to be anything for this team at this point. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'd love to get your thoughts on L'Jarius Snead. So this is what Easton said, if I could find it here.
Yeah, give us the date, too, on that.
So, August 17th. So just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
He says, is this the week L'Jarius Snead comes off PUP? ? the ... leads me to believe that maybe he's coming off this week. Maybe he's heard a little something. And maybe that's part of the reevaluation process.
Maybe he had a setback.
And
they just not willing to go all in. He's going to be back on at least a temporary basis as far as practicing.
But it's not looking good for L'Jarius Sneed to be even ready for the Denver game, which I'm kind of wondering if Lloyd Cushenberry will for sure get the start in the Denver game. I know he's been pushing for it. Right. But we're talking about a 300-pound offensive lineman that had an Achilles injury.
That's just where I was about to go.
And then L'Jarius Sneed, we have no clue what's going on with really L'Jarius Sneed. Is it the knee?
We found out he had a knee scope in May.
Yeah.
Right.
But we found that out just a month ago.
Right. Yeah,
we didn't find that out in May. We found that out a month ago. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's maddening at this point because I've been trying to remain patient with the L'Jarius Sneed trade, with L'Jarius Sneed.
Do you think they're good enough with the guys they got?
I don't know. I mean, I know that Marcus Harris put up a good performance in Atlanta, an all-right performance, I would say, but he's not ready to start. And then I know that Darrell Baker Jr. proved that he can at least start, but then you're having to rely again forever how long it takes L'Jarius Sneed to come back, even if he comes back at this point. I mean, I can even say with confidence that he'll be back this season. That's where the Tennessee Titans have got me. That's the headspace I'm in. I don't even know if you can count on L'Jarius Sneed to be back at this point because I can't trust whatever is going to say. The timeline is constantly changing from inside the building.
Brownlee
and Darrell Baker Jr. McCreary
is your starting three.
And then one of them goes down, Marcus Harris or Gabe Judy-Lawley steps in, and you're just in a terrible shape.
We're up in Poop Creek. That's where we at. They have to sign like a 5-6 year. Maybe they're gonna pick somebody up for waivers. Somebody may get cut. That's a good player. That could happen too. So maybe they're waiting on that. But you got to have a security blanket here and buy yourself some more time. That's what you're trying to do. If you really believe he can get back, at least attempt to play some games with his health, you got to buy yourself some time just in case somebody gets nicked up.
Yeah.
And what if you start off fast and you win a couple games that you weren't supposed to win? Then all of a sudden your thought process goes different direction. Yeah. You start saying, "Hey man, we gotta get some guys and some depth pieces with some experience."
And at this point, how much can you expect for Sneed to even be good when he comes back? Because this has been a terrible thing now.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe this is tied into something that we're not aware of with his case. I don't know. Maybe they're and maybe this isn't really a health issue. That would be, I don't know if that's good or if that's better or worse for anybody, but maybe that's the point. But Dixie in the chat,
would still rev him up though.
Yeah. Dixie in the chat says Burks tore, then rehabbed his ACL and got hurt again before Sneed has come back. Think about that.
Where's Burks?
Well, he's on IR. But that's what he's saying. He got hurt again.
Right.
All this time between Sneed being injured and now still injured, whatever is going on. Let's go to James, who wants to talk about L'Jarius Sneed. James, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going good.
Man, I think that Sneed was a bad mistake. I mean, just because he done good in Kansas City don't mean he's going to be doing it. I mean, we've not got no service out of him. We spent millions of dollars for what? Talk about a good corner. Man, you need to be reliable. You know what I'm saying? He's not saying he's not a good player, but, if he stays injured all the time, that's not benefiting us. And, two, while we're on the subject, a little bit off the subject, but Callahan, he'll never make it as a Titans coach. He just don't have that demeanor. He don't have that. He may be smart and may be a good offensive coordinator, but as far as to get guys motivated, I mean, to me, he's not that guy. I'll get off there and let y'all do what you think about it.
Thanks. I mean, it feels like the team's pretty motivated right now. I mean, I don't know about
fighting in practice.
Yeah, I mean, shoving. You tiff a lot of tiffs at practice. I don't know. I haven't seen a lack of motivation so far this offseason from anybody on the team or anything. So, I mean, maybe that will pop up later on down the road. I think the trade. Listen, hindsight's 2020. The trade made sense last year when
No,
they did
I
it.
never agreed with that trade.
You never agreed with the trade?
I never did.
See, I thought that.
I did not.
I can't sit here and honestly say that I did not like the trade.
But I said this is a risky proposition because when you play corner, you're a track athlete, and anything start talking about a knee, and he didn't practice all season during the regular season. Like, no, that's a no.
No, he did practice through the regular season.
Okay, he did, but there are multiple seasons where he was in and out of practices, like whether it was training camp or that's a no. That I never bought in. And I love Jerry Sneed. He's a dog. He likes to get in people's grill. But once I said I wouldn't do it. And they waited a long time. You know why they waited so long time? Nobody else was willing to trade for him. They knew something that we didn't know.
And that may be the case. Jackson, what you got?
I wonder how the Sneed injury and the Sneed management plays into this bottom of the roster construction we have a week from today.
I think it's going to.
With the Titans having that first waiver wire spot, they can bring in a lot of guys. So let's say I think you could see them trim down to maybe 48, 49-ish players and bring in 4 to 5 players on waivers, including a cornerback or two, to try to help them in the meantime while Sneed tries to get healthy.
Yeah, that's what I said. Try to buy themselves some time. I don't know, you was doing the answer to the phones, but yeah.
Here's something to remind everybody.
It may be a good corner that gets out there that they trying to cut maybe because of money and it's just too tough. I mean, like when you look, I think the Eagles keep signing corners. I'm like, man, how many guys
maybe you could
get?
trade him L'Jarius Sneed. Here's something to remind everybody that he's on the PUP list. Okay, L'Jarius Sneed is on the PUP list. That counts right now towards your 90-man roster accounting. So when you're counting to 90 players, he counts. By the final 53-man roster date, which is coming up next week, he either has to be moved to the 53-man roster or be moved to a different PUP list, which is a different name, the reserve PUP list, and he'll miss the first 4 games of the season. That the deadline for this Sneed thing to resolve itself in some form or fashion for fans.
What's the date?
Is coming up on Tuesday.
Tuesday. What's Tuesday?
Tuesday's the 26th.
Tuesday, the 26th, cut down day.
26th.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we have to have some kind of clarity from there because at some point, he's either going to be on the PUP list, and there is also a season-ending PUP list they can be put on, but the PUP list for him to come back is that deadline. So 3 p.m., 4 p.m., I believe, is that 3 p.m. Central Standard Time is that deadline. So at that point, we got to figure out what's going on with L'Jarius Sneed. Because it's coming down the pipe. This isn't like
I'd love
another week.
Truth serum to talk to Bergonzi about Sneed and how they worked out this trade when he was with the Chiefs with Rand Carthon on this trade.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how those conversations went and then what his knee was like when he was with the Chiefs because the Chiefs, they didn't tag him or anything.
Nope. Oh, they did tag him, yeah.
Did they tag him?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
They tag and trade.
Yeah, this is tag and trade.
They gave him what tag? He wasn't franchise tag, was he?
Yeah, he was franchise tagged. It wasn't transition tag or anything. It was a franchise tag.
It was a 1 year.
But you can negotiate off that and stuff.
He would have been a free agent before the trade had he not been franchise tagged.
Yeah. Right. Okay, when we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Mack of Titans Radio, talk about the Tennessee Titans, where he has seen growth from this team. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, folks, I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physician for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition, personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And 2A also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, that's right. TOA.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. You know what that music means. It's time for our weekly talk with Coach Mack of Titans Radio. Coach, we've seen now 2 preseason games. Overall, how do you feel the Titans have progressed over those 2 games?
Well, I mean, they're getting look, this is a really young team. They're making some improvements. There have been some pluses and some minuses. That's the way this football team is going to be all year. It's all going to be about development and improvement. I just got back off that 10-day trip with the team, and I thought that was very advantageous to it. But they learned a lot on it, but there's still a lot to learn. And this, even when the final cuts are made, this is not going to be the final team. I mean, this waiver wire is going to be worked pretty heavy, at least for the first 3 weeks of the season. So I think, they've made progress, but they've got a long way to go yet.
Yeah, that's why people need to refer to it as the initial 53 and not the final 53, because a lot
there
of
you go. That's the correct semantics.
There you go.
It won't be final.
Yeah.
It won't be final for quite a while.
When you look at this young team, you kind of brought it up, and it's kind of been a little bit of a talking point. How do you, as a head coach, balance playing your vets, playing the players that give you the best chance, but also trying to develop your players? Because obviously the more reps are better for your younger players, but, they also kind of have to earn those reps, and you have to do what's best for your team to win.
Yeah, well, you play your best players, but, I mean, the younger players, hopefully, that you drafted, this is a young team. Some of the younger players seem to be some of the best players. Just because you're a veteran player doesn't mean you're the best player. Now, if veteran and the best player, talent-wise, go together, then that's who you play, and you let the young ones learn behind it. But if the younger players are catching up pretty quick, and there's going to be roles for everybody on this team early on. This was a good draft class. I mean, you can see the development in this draft class as far as to what they have got a chance to be. But it's going to be this football team is right now in a rebuilding phase. So when you're rebuilding teams, I've been on 2 rebuilding teams in my 31-year coaching career. You play the best player, but you also hopefully your younger players develop into the better players. That's just the way. That's the way you draft, and that's the way you develop, and that's the way you retain them. That's the way you build a roster.
I think Cam Ward's game against the Atlanta Falcons is the perfect example of the box score ain't going to tell you everything. You have to watch the game. What did you see from Cam Ward against the Falcons that really shined a positive spin on his performance?
No, he doesn't get flustered. I mean, he's got a whip for an arm. I mean, I've watched him the whole time that he's been there, and he had one that was a pretty good transcontinental that was dropped. But I mean, that's going to happen. Nobody's going to be perfect on either the thrower or the catcher's end. I mean, that's what the preseason is for. But and I really enjoyed watching him work and handle the football team in the 10 days that we were gone, working against 2 different teams in Tampa Bay and Atlanta too, on the practice field just during the whole time. That was a very productive 10 days, and I just like the way he conducts himself.
We're on the phone with Coach Mack of Titans Radio, brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Well, Coach Mack, you just mentioned Van Jefferson and his drop, and he kind of had an interview today, Van, and said that he just got to catch the football, and it's kind of what I echoed, that he just got to make that catch. But how, from a coach's perspective, you sat in these rooms and team to team, and how do you not overanalyze a one play and continue to keep your mindset on the body of work that they've had at training camp?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's not a one-sum deal. I mean, it's a lot different as a coach when you're looking at it and you're evaluating the body of work, and you're 100% right. Look, he just dropped the ball. I mean, that's what happens. There's not a receiver that's ever played any length of time in the National Football League that hadn't dropped the ball. None. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, and when you're coaching, I mean, you said it exactly right, Blaine. You look at the body of work. I mean, these one-off comments that are made by people that watch practice or watch a game and look at one thing and say, all right, well, that's a drop, he's cut, or that's a catch, he's on the team. That's not the way evaluation works. You're 100% right.
Well, naturally, Coach, with a lot of players are probably not going to be on the team with a 90-man roster. Special teams sometimes takes a hit with penalties and different things. But we have two veteran, kickers, and I'm interested. One missed an extra point, and then now this is 2 games for Hecker there where he kind of shanked now. It rolled on one of them. But what are your thoughts on how do you evaluate when you have veteran kickers who may be starting to show signs that they're going in a different direction, or do you just say, when the regular season starts, they'll be fine?
Well, you don't say that, but I've watched all of those guys every snap they've taken, during the practice time. Of course, I've been with Hecker, nearly most of his career watching him. I mean, I know what he could do, and I don't know how the extra point was missed. As I've said many times on this show and other shows I've been on, Coach Mack is not a professional kicker coach.
I don't think nobody. They need special kickers.
Blaine, I would be really way out over my skis if I started to try to identify what happened on that kick. It looked like he pulled it left to me. So I don't think, again, Bones Fossil is a very experienced special teams coach. So it kind of goes back to what you were talking about, being able to evaluate the entire body of work.
Well, let's talk about the body of work Cedric Gray is putting in 2 weeks in a row. Man, you talking about see ball, trigger, go get? Oh, my. Man, how he ran over that running back. Ooh, on that blitz.
Yes, Cedric Gray has really come on under Frank Bush. Because, you look back on what this kid was, when you watch him in North Carolina, that's a player that you saw. He had no chance of getting started in this league because he was hurt. He knocked his shoulder down, in a drill early on and then lost all of that basic training time, all of it. Because you know as well as anybody, better than anybody, not as well, better than anybody that tries to talk about this stuff. It's just a different look and a different feel in this game because of the speed, because of the way things happen, because of what you've got to be able to key and look. I think now his key and diagnose is really good. I mean, he is triggering now. And, I really believe, playing next to a veteran middle linebacker really, really helps. But Frank Bush has put a lot of time into both of those young players, both Cedric and James Williams, and you can tell it's paying off. At least right now with their body of work, and Cedric Gray especially, he's starting to show up. He's starting to show, why he was a decent draft pick coming out of North Carolina, because he can trigger, he can get downhill, and he packs a punch. He's a heavy load. I mean, the one sack that he got where he just blew the back up. I mean, the guy's got a punch to him. But you're right in saying this. You've seen this. He doesn't. There's no hezzy, as we say when we write out a scouting report as linebackers. There's no hezzy on him when he triggers.
Well, Coach, one who is maybe not hesitating as much as he was in the beginning, but he's still growing. What is your evaluation so far of Femi? Looks like he was triggering, but maybe not always.
Yeah, he's triggering. He doesn't have a counter move yet.
Oh,
and that's going to take him a while. Take him a while to get that. And the other thing that he's got to learn, and he will learn, and he has been taught right now, that offensive tackles in this league, they study film just like offensive corners do, or just like linebackers do. They know who they are going against because most of the time out there on that edge, unless you're moving people a lot, it's a one-on-one matchup. And so they're going to study every little inch of what you do. He's got to learn to study on the opposite side of that just as much. And then sooner or later, he's going to have to develop a counter move because he's got a speed to power move, but he's going to have to develop a counter.
I guess lastly here, maybe a 2-part question, not to say they're going to make the team, but who kind of improved their case to have a shot to maybe make the back end of the roster here coming up on cut day? And I wanted to ask you about cut day. Do you like the one cut rule, or do you like multiple cuts? Man, it just seemed like so many players out there. Man, it seemed like you could miss some players.
I hated that multiple cut thing.
Oh, okay.
I hated it. It was really hard. Now, that was back in the time playing where you were playing 4 or 5 preseason games. and you had nobody to play with those last games. When you start making that cut, and then you're trying to save your vets' legs, because remember too, back then in those days, you didn't have the bump week between the season being over and the regular season starting. I mean, that's a big difference. But I never could understand. And as a coach, I've been in a lot of meetings, where we would lobby to keep all of those players for the entire time, for a lot of reasons. And we'd also used to lobby for more people on the practice squad. COVID switched all of that. COVID switched all of that because all of a sudden you needed bodies. And then everybody around the league, even the league office at 345 Park Avenue, saw the advantage of keeping that many people, not only during training camp, but also during the regular season. So I'm glad all of that stuff has changed. I'm really, really happy with that. As far as the back end of the roster, to me, there's some guys that are still fighting for it. What I will say about the back end of this roster, let's go back to the first part of this conversation today, which is a reality. Some of those back end of the roster guys are not going to be here, even though just because of the claiming spot that the Titans have for 3 weeks.
Coach Mack, what did you see from Marcus Harris over the week over in Atlanta? Because I know the game, he showed a little bit of recovery speed and all that kind of stuff. But what did you see from his growth as he got a little bit of run with the ones heading into the Atlanta game?
More than the recovery speed, what he showed on that deep ball, here's what we talk about in the coaching world as a defensive back. When the ball was in the air, deep, he held his water. In other words, he kept the water in his bucket. He didn't panic. He realized where he was. He knew he had catch-up speed. He eyeballed the basket. He looked at the receiver. He didn't look back for the football until he caught up, and then he did a great play at the end, and that's what I said on the broadcast. The biggest thing that he did then, that was a veteran move, is that he held his water at the catch point, which a lot of times you see young DBs, they may be in position, but they lose their water at the catch point, and when they do that, then all of a sudden they're in position, but they don't make the play. I thought that was the impressive part of that.
Khalil Mullins, obviously 2 weeks where he's had a holding penalty in pass protection. Then he also didn't hold still with his assignment on the first one. I think he said he got a little overzealous on that one, the one from the first week. How much obviously you're working on it and Randy Jordan is working on it, but how much does that play into the factor of his reliability when it comes down to game day? He obviously is going to be working on it, but how do you kind of like coach with that in mind?
Well, if you're going to be a backup running back in this league and you're going to play, you got to protect, because you've got to be a part of the protection. That's just life in this league. That's what you have to do. As a former linebacker coach in the early part of my career, if we were going up against somebody, that's the first thing we would watch is the backs to see when we were going to bring pressure or not, who we could attack, who's going to soft shoulder, who's going to lean forward, who's going to jump at us, dive at us. I mean, and again, they are not asked to block much in college. They're just not. It's mostly a 5-out scheme. They're free release schemes. They're not asked to block a whole lot. It's a learned skill in the National Football League. So he's got to get better at it. He's got to get better at 2 things, learning how to block and learning how just to run north-south, because he's not bouncing anything outside in this league. His strength is power straight ahead, and he's got to learn how to be able to block.
And lastly, Gunnar Helm obviously goes and makes a spectacular play off a really good throw by Brandon Allen. Sometimes the catch can overshadow the throw. But Gunnar Helm has been a guy that's continued to show up during practices, during games. Talk about his development and how soon are the Tennessee Titans going to be leaning on him to maybe be that all-around tight end that they have been looking for?
He's going to play. He's going to play a lot. But look, this guy's a good football player, and he was underdrafted for this reason. I sat right there at the combine right there on the start line and watched him pop that ankle when he was getting ready to run his 40. But he went ahead and did it anyway and then worked out with it. And you could tell that he couldn't move. Now, if you don't watch the tape down there at Texas, you're going to say, well, here's a tight end that, that doesn't have great speed. He's got great hands. Well, he's got better speed than people thought. He's a better blocker than people thought. And plus, the guy's got a feel for the game. He's got a great feel for open spots. Blaine played with a tight end here that had a great feel for open spaces, a great feel. Probably wasn't ever going to run away from anybody, but was really good at finding open spaces and was really good at bodying people up. That's what this guy is. I liked his game in Texas. I love the way that he has approached it ever since he's been here, and now he's starting to show up at game time, which those are 3 big check marks for him. I really like the player.
We're on with Coach Mack of Titans Radio, brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Hey, Coach, before you go, talk about how, I guess, getting in a little bit of a push and shove and skirmish, at practice, sometimes in certain circumstances can kind of galvanize the team and bring you closer together.
Yeah, well, if people are calling what happened yesterday a fight, they've never been in a fight in their life. I've seen bigger fights on the Catholic school playground than that. So, that to me, that now, the thing that happened down there in Atlanta,
yeah,
that was legit. I've been involved in some Braveheart fights on the practice field. Where now the one in Atlanta, it accelerated, but it didn't accelerate, Blaine, to the point as to where the teams on the other field came across. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It stayed on the one field. But that thing that happened yesterday, as I said, if you're calling that a fight, you've never been in a fight in your life.
I'd agree. All right, Coach Mack, thanks so much for joining us. Coach Mack, weekly Mack Attack here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons. Brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. Coach, we appreciate it.
Guys, appreciate you guys a lot. See ya.
See ya. When we come back, we got to talk about what the Indianapolis Colts have announced today. When we come back, this is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And the Indianapolis Colts have put it into their quote-unquote quarterback battle, their quarterback competition. The $14 million man, Daniel Jones, is the winner. Maybe not to Colts fans, because I don't think anybody won with the Indianapolis Colts, according to Colts fans. Because today there was since the announcement, someone that covers the someone that covers the Indianapolis Colts, James Boyd, put out this tweet. It says, Colts quarterback Daniel Jones just threw a deep ball dime to A.D. Mitchell for a long touchdown in 11-on-11. And the replies are, who gives a crap? Meanwhile, our 4th overall pick sits on the bench to rot. Screw Steichen. No one cares. Who gives a crap? Like, it's just the replies. Apparently, the Colts fans are not happy that Anthony Richardson is not playing as their starter, which if you watch the film as a coach fan, as a Colts fan, you should kind of have expected this because Anthony Richardson has not been that good. This is Shane Steichen on Daniel Jones. Quote, he's the starting quarterback for the season. I don't want to have a short leash on that.
That's what that goes.
That is what the head coach said, Blaine.
I told you this was trouble. 14 million backup. I don't know. Usually it's about 7. Ask Marcus Mariota.
Right.
See, so I mean, it was always as soon as he got hurt again, I think that just said, okay, we'll just walk right in this door.
And then Steichen said sometime in that same press conference, he said, it will be Riley Leonard and Jason Bean playing in Saturday's preseason finale. No reps for Daniel Jones, no reps for Anthony Richardson. Jackson, what do you got?
How many games do y'all think Anthony Richardson starts in 2025?
Well, I don't think Daniel Jones is really that injury prone, is he?
No, I'm saying I think he's going to be bad.
Oh no, I think I disagree.
What'd
I know
you say?
that you're a Daniel Jones hater.
I don't
but Anthony
believe in
Richardson
Daniel
is
Jones,
one outside of Will Levis. Anthony Richardson is one of the worst quarterbacks out there right now.
I think Anthony Richardson starts a minimum of 4 games for the Colts this season.
How much you want to bet? Now, barring injury, obviously.
Not barring injury, I'd put $10 on it with you.
Okay, $10 bet it is.
Not barring that Daniel Jones gets hurt.
Yeah, if he gets hurt, that doesn't count.
All bets are off.
Yeah, but because he thinks that Daniel Jones is going to be that bad that they'll put in Anthony Richardson for 4 games and start mixing and matching.
The Colts' offensive line?
Fairly good. Better than what the Giants have been for the most part under the.
And see, when he gets protection, he does okay. And he's a better athlete than most people think. He's got a big arm. I think they thought when they signed him for $14 million as the backup that I thought he was going to be the starter. I said that then, and it's playing out that way. And if they protect him mostly, I think he'll be fine. I think the inconsistency of, Richardson's play, let alone him in and out of the lineup because of injuries, I think led them down this road, and they want to protect themselves. They were going to give him every opportunity, and that's why I said he opened the door, and they said we're walking in. Now we got to move forward. Not unless Daniel Jones gets hurt, you come back out here. If you play well, then for consecutive games or so, we will consider maybe keeping you as the starter. But they had to cover themselves. Ballard has to cover himself now.
Anthony Richardson had to go in and win that job.
Yeah, and
he just couldn't be. And that should tell you a lot about Anthony Richardson from a talent perspective, or I guess I should say from a quarterbacking perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Not from a determination perspective, not from an athlete perspective. I can't even say it. Screw it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those days today. But we're talking about a quarterback. There have been 55 quarterbacks over the last 2 years, Blaine, that has had 175 passing attempts, at least. He's 55th, dead last in accuracy, dead last in completion rate, and 50th in touchdown to interception ratio. And he's dead last out of 54 qualifying quarterbacks just last year in completion percentage over expected. So how much did he actually complete the passes he was expected to complete? He's dead last in that.
But he gives you some wild plays.
He gives you the wild plays.
I think that's why the fans are upset. I mean, he gives you some.
I mean, because you see it, right?
Yeah.
Like he'll talk about hero ball.
Yeah.
His whole game hero ball right now. I mean, we're talking about a guy that on passes thrown 7+ yards down the field with no pressure whatsoever, he completes just 38% of those passes.
What?
Yep. The NFL average is actually just 57%, which is kind of crazy.
And he was last?
He was last.
Oh, man.
I mean, again, he's not been that good. But I'm going to say this. If there is anybody that I take a chance on having that career renaissance like someone else, I would be a team if I'm Sean McVay or if I'm, the quote-unquote the offensive geniuses or whatever out there. I think he's going to be later on down the road a good quarterback. But we're just talking about a guy that only had 15 starts before he even got into the NFL. He's only had 1,700 snaps, college plus high school plus NFL, of 2 years of NFL, his whole career. I think he's going to be able to turn into something. He may not turn into like Geno Smith or Michael Vick or Jalen Hurts or, any of these guys, quarterbacks that turn into something to have. I know Geno didn't have athleticism, but I'm using him for the example of like your Sam Darnolds and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think he's going to turn into a serviceable quarterback at some point throughout his career. And I would take that chance if I was and to develop him behind the scenes. That was the issue with the Indianapolis Colts, is that they decided just to thrust him in it.
Well, he's such a freaking, man, he's a great athlete. So you got to put that and get him in the right mindset in his brain to perform as a quarterback instead of an athlete. It'd be interesting to see if he got with Shanahan with the 49ers. Is that where Trey Lance is at? Where's Trey Lance?
Trey Lance is currently at the Chargers.
Chargers, right. He's with Harbaugh.
Which I think that would be a really good fit for him over there.
So
I think sit behind the Baltimore Ravens, who sometimes don't have a good backup quarterback.
So I think they're hoping they're buying themselves some more times that he can continue to develop. And Daniel Jones, to Jackson's point, may get nicked up and may miss a game or two. Yeah. You're going to always need two quarterbacks. Maybe he gets a shot. Maybe he develops. Maybe he grows. And standing on the sideline, in particular quarterback, you can learn a lot. Is he just going to be the student of the game he needs to be? And then when he gets his shot, he's ready to shoot a shot? I don't know. And
I kind of look at what happened with Bryce Young and Andy Dalton last year. Maybe this will buy him a little bit of time to learn stuff, like you say, but I think he's going to need a full year on the bench. And not this in and out, you tapping out on some plays, but like they've just kind of yanked him around throughout these last 2 years, and he's played games where he's probably not even ready to be playing. They need to kind of take that quarterback development with him a little bit seriously. Kind of like what the Tennessee Titans are doing with Cam Ward, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on the show. Other than that, this has been Covered 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime...
And in between time.
Peace.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.